You are not going to believe what I'm about to say, but for the next few minutes, I would like you to forget everything you know about washing your car. Forget the pressure washer, forget the snow foam, and forget running water. Because in my hand, I have a product that claims you can wash your car without any of those things. And to be honest, it sounds so unbelievable. Even after reading all the instructions, I still don't believe it myself. So today we're going to be breaking all of the rules and we're going to be washing a car the wrong way. This is Rinseless by Yum Cars. It's an ultra concentrated chemical that gives you the ability to wash your car pretty much anywhere without wasting your precious water. And you might be thinking, okay, so it's just another waterless wash then. But the answer is no. Rinseless generally means that you have a bucket of water and then you pour in your desired amount. Now we will cover all dilutions and everything later in the video. So basically we're going to be grabbing our wash mitt and then we're going to be working on one panel at a time. But instead of rinsing it off straight away, we're going to follow it up immediately with a microfiber cloth or even a towel. Now it gets slightly different with a waterless wash because we have a mixture here which has been pre-made, it's ready to go, you spray it on the surface and then you follow it up with a microfiber cloth. So it does restrict you to cars that are only lightly dusty. So with most parts of the UK facing a hosepipe ban, could this really replace the pressure washer? Let me explain this in the simplest way possible. So let's just say this is the surface of the car. These two caps are the dirt that's sitting on there, and in here is the rinseless solution. So what happens is when the rinseless comes into contact with the dirt on the surface, it will encapsulate or trap the dirt and it will slightly elevate it. So you have something like this. We then grab our microfiber cloth and then we wipe away. So it's not going to be a case of we've got dirt on the surface and we're going to be rubbing this microfiber cloth into it, making it even worse, because it's going to safely pull it away in the solution. Now there is another thing to consider with waterless washes, because yeah, they're going to work in the same way that when the solution touches any dirt, it will be able to pick it up. But you have to make sure that you're going to be very thorough. Let's say this is a very large panel on a car. Well, I need to make sure that I've evenly distributed the solution all over the surface, because what if I hadn't? What if I just sprayed the left-hand side and I grabbed my microfiber cloth and I'm wiping away? There's that increased risk of having more friction and there is that risk of scratches. But now, if we revert back to the rinseless, if I wanted to cover a larger panel, I've got my solution in the bucket with the water. These wash mitts can hold a lot of chemical, which means that it's going to be far easier, quicker and safer for me to cover an entire surface. For cars with light dirt, this could be a real time saver. This sounds seriously impressive, but it also sounds too good to be true. So I guess there's only one way to find out. Whenever you watch rinseless demonstrations, it's very rare you ever see them being tested on a dirty car. But thankfully, I have the perfect test subject for the experiment. Now on a seriously filthy car, there is no question about it, you really could cause scratches, especially if there is lots of caked on road tar. So in that sense, you're better off sticking with the pre-wash and the pressure washer. Now looking at the Audi A6, you can see with the level of dirt that we have here, this is probably going to be about as far as you could realistically go using a rinseless. There's 4 recommended dilutions on the label depending on the level of dirt on your car. So I'm just going to jump in with 67 ml of rinseless with 10 litres of water, because we're focusing on the worst case scenario here. Most buckets on average can normally contain up to 20 litres, so if you have a dirty car similar to this, and you decide to go for 20 litres, you just need to add 134 ml. Right, this is it, my first attempt at rinseless. Wish me luck. I wanted to start off with the roof and gradually work my way down. So normally when I wash my cars, I always start with the dirtiest part first, which is the wheels. But because the wheels are filthy dirty, it would make more sense for me to do the bodywork first with this and then save the wheels till last, because I'm not splashing anything, you see. So we're going in a completely opposite order. I still don't know what to make of this. I'm very curious though. Everything I've ever taught people about cleaning cars, I am literally doing what I would never normally recommend in a million years. But we have the technology now, so we can do this stuff and we can actually make it make sense. Right, so I'm going to grab a microfiber cloth, wipe it over and see what kind of results we're left with. So the trick is not to let it dry, so I'm going to go over one more time, just give it a bit of lubrication. And we're just going to wipe over with a microfiber cloth. And we are going to follow it up again with a second cloth. So now I'm going to take my blue towel to follow up. If this works, I am going to be completely blown away because I've never ever considered doing this, but I am a busy boy, so it does make sense if you're in a hurry. My only concern really is those scratches, but as they say, like with all the rinseless products that are out there, the way that they can encapsulate the dirt and help you pull it away from the surface means it shouldn't technically happen.
Despite being a safer alternative for your typical cleaner cars, I still chose to work top down because the lower third was pretty filthy.
I'm just going to wipe over it, and I'm not going to try and get all of it off. I'm just going to let it flash. And then we're just going to go over it again one more time with another towel. And then we should be left with something beautiful. What do you reckon? Even on a contaminated car like this, it looks pretty damn good. Just to be clear, this is a pure cleaner, so it's not going to add or boost any gloss, and it's not going to add any protection either. All it's going to do is just clean the vehicle.
Another huge plus point is the reduced environmental impact you could make each time you wash your car. And it certainly feels like a different experience as you wipe over the surface with a cloth.
I'll tell you what, one thing I have noticed, which I think you're going to like, is just how remarkable the glass is coming up. And I was not expecting that one.
In this footage, you can see the Rinseless doesn't cling like a snow foam because the job of the surfactants is to lift and pull the dirt down.
So now we're giving it that second hit again. And you can see, so the first layer of solution was pulling the dirt off. And now we're just going over it again. And what's happening is, like I did in a demonstration, it's encapsulating the dirt into the mitt and taking it away gently. This is a bit of a difficult one for me because I'm looking at the car and I'm looking at the lower third here. And I feel like I'm missing some bits here because normally I'm very thorough with the pre-wash and the wheels. And I just feel that I've done a bit of a half-assed job. So the detailer in me is saying, right, we've got to start on the top, gradually work our way down because we want to make this look as good as possible. But I just feel in hindsight, looking at the car that I'm working on right now, I would say this really is as filthy as you can go to use a rinseless wash or a waterless wash. Anything else, I think it would just be essential that you break out the pressure washer.
Hang on a minute, there could be an alternative method for those extra dirty vehicles. Because although the lower third of the car is clogged up with dirt, we can't just assume that it's game over for everyone. Because in a moment of doubt came a stroke of genius.
Now, I've been doing some thinking and I want to give some really constructive feedback on this product and how I think it could be used even better. Now, if we go to the Yum Cars launch video, Nick said in that video that during the testing stages, the detailers who were testing it said the surfactants are so good that they were using it like a pre-wash. So they tested it out on the lower third of the vehicle, actually the whole vehicle, and then they were rinsing the dirt away and it was removing large amounts of dirt off the bodywork, meaning it was extremely safe, even better than a standard pre-wash. And that got me thinking, because pressure washers are forbidden in the UK at the minute because of the dreaded hosepipe ban, but what if we tried something different? And that gave me a big idea.
So what's the big idea, you may ask? Well, it's this, the steam cleaner. It's mainly used on car interiors, but it would work on the exterior. But I wonder how it would perform with Rinseless.
If this works, I'm going to get nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize because all I'm going to do is stop detailers bickering in forums about this. No way. No way. This is looking really good, by the way. I'm not just saying it, I promise. Oh my word. It's solved the problem. It really has. I don't know what more I can say. That is just brilliant. We've taken something and we've elevated it to a whole new level. The steam cleaner plus the rinseless is brilliant.
I just want to clarify, this method is what I'd only recommend if all else fails. For example, if you don't have a pressure washer, you don't have running water, and you have a filthy car but you still want to clean it yourself. So the combination of the rinseless and the steam cleaner works well, but this is only really needed on those extra filthy parts, such as the lower third. For general maintenance cleans, rinseless is great on its own, But ultimately, it's going to come down to you making the correct decisions about the cleanliness of your own car.
To sum it up, I would say it's a bit like a waterless wash on steroids because you're getting a double hit from the pump sprayer and the wash mitt. I imagine in intense heat, if used incorrectly, you could potentially scratch your car, but I think that's going to come down to user error. You should never attempt to wash your car in very hot conditions or direct sunlight. I think there's definitely a market for this here in the UK because it's massive in the States, but I just feel it might take people a little while to adjust to washing their car without a pressure washer. But who knows, in the future, the way things are heading, this might be the only option. Last week, I featured one of the biggest ever interior detailing guides you'll ever see on YouTube. So if you want to know how to clean the interior of your car from start to finish, then you can go and watch this video right here.